Say hello, everyone and no one, and welcome to another Rotten Movie Reviews. We actually don't have James with us, but I'm not changing shit today because, well, my body hasn't been the best light. I actually should have just moved my workouts 2 days to the right instead of trying to do a workout today. Luckily, it somewhat worked, but that was the shortest workout I've ever had for leg day. But with me, as always, is Tier Alexander. Tier, how you doing?
I I don't know. I watched this movie and I'm confused.
Joining us as well as Angela. Angela, how you doing?
I don't think they make enough uh medicine to deal with that.
And James is out currently. He's I believe in the ER, and we're from what I know, he's doing well. We're wishing a very, very positive recovery, obviously. So we're gonna leave him there for that. But joining us as well is Will at Forge. Will, how you doing?
Will is out right now. Please wait while the system reboots.
Thank you for calling. So we watched the movie Bringing Out the Dead, and from talking with a couple of friends who are in fire department, also a bit of EMS, and then hearing, Polydub's recommendation of it, I can see a lot of aspects of how it would show quite a bit of what EMS has to go through. All in all, again, I have no fucking idea how they did this. Apparently, it was something about the 90s and the 2000s, and I'm pretty sure majority of these actors and actresses were pretty fucking big at the time. But they got another goddamn star-studded cast. But I mean, what do you expect? The director was Martin Scorsese. I don't know much.
Yeah.
I don't actually know much of his work. I just know apparently the dude can get fucking actors together. But I mean, Nicolas Cage, Patricia Arquette, John Goodman, Ving Rhames, Tom Sizemore, Mark Antony, fucking Mary Beth Hurt,
I
which
know
I
everything now.
loved her being the goddamn nurse bitching at everybody.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. Cliff Curtis. I swear the nurse that was in the ICU at the end was Carla, but I think that might not have been. I'm not 100%.
Shit, Queen Latifah as the voice of the uh Dispatcher Love.
Fuck, Martin Scorsese was one of the dispatchers.
Yeah, he was. I think he was their boss.
No,
It
he was
was
just a
pretty
dispatcher. The
Oh,
captain was a Arthur J. Nascarellia? Captain Barney? Why should you watch this movie? Not actually a bad movie in my opinion, but basically you have a very, very, very morbid sense of humor, James.
yes,
And
James, you really should watch this one.
and you really want to see Ving Rhames in the fucking goth club or the fucking
Oh
band
yeah,
thing.
that
That that alone right there, amazing.
Yes,
flip it, post, print that. That is a wrap.
that alone is worth watching.
Lord, bring back I'll be banging.
Oh, that was insane. So fucking nice.
uh, if you have any formal EMS training of like doing CPR and things like that, you're gonna be like, okay, they did not receive enough training of that because, dear God, their compressions were not in time. I know
They were
most.
going to kill someone.
Yeah, they were really slow. I
Yeah,
know. I know most people would be the whole thing of like, oh, if you can use the standard "Staying Alive," another one that another song you can use for the rhythm that's actually very morbid is Queen's. Another one bites the dust.
Shit.
wow.
And anyone that's actually had to do CPR in emergency circumstance is either going to be very nerd to it or have PTSD episodes watching this, or both.
Yeah, but honestly, better movie than I was expecting. I mean, it was definitely dark,
It was a good movie. It was a rough movie. It
and
was
And there are no sane people in the cast.
it
You'll go
there
through it just waiting, like, okay, this person's going to be saying nope. This person's going to be saying nope. This person's going to be saying nope. They make the other two look sane.
I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, it was the nurse was about the only sane one.
He wasn't even sane.
You got drunk and fell down. It's like you went home, got drunk and fell down. You're just gonna sober up tomorrow and get drunk and fall down again. So
Well,
since
there was that, but then there was the regular guy that she just was super nice to.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Noel, who's being played by Mark Anthony, is obviously insane.
He is nutty as a fruitcake.
But it also was brought up of how, he was kind of shot in the head.
Yeah.
And now to get...
They do the late in the game, they explain the why.
Yeah. So, the part that I was bringing up with Nicolas Cage and Tom Sizemore and the guy that they were kind of fucking with, that they put the thing on his forehead and were fucking with him, type thing. So I've seen people like that, not so much myself, but enough of the stuff of it throughout the military career and everything, of people who basically feign suicide to, well, hasn't been long enough for me to use it, so but fuck it, I don't care. I don't have enough subscribers anyways, to basically get out of something or to get attention. And my personal favorite of any of those stories does come from a combat veteran who he's a former, obviously, combat veteran from the Army. He's got several people who work with him in the Army. They put together military skits. But he told one story of how, as he did progress in rank, the way his people taught him was anything that he would put his men through, he had to go through. And they were going to have to go on this big-ass fucking march. Or so they had gone on this big-ass fucking march, which fucking sucks, but okay, they did it. And after that, they were supposed to have like a long weekend or some shit. Yeah, it was they hadn't gone it. Well, apparently they had one guy who didn't want to go on it and didn't want to do this shit anymore, so he said that he was being suicidal. So they had to have someone there with him the entire time. He's like, okay, you fucked up us having to go through this shit, but you also fucked up my goddamn weekend. So they have to have someone who outranks him there basically through the entire time. And when someone came in to relieve him, he's like, oh, what do you use to try to commit suicide? And apparently the guy points at a pocket knife up there. And he picks it up, he unfolds it, he touches the blade. He goes, well, no fucking wonder you only had to attempt suicide. This bitch is duller than motherfucker. Pulls out a sharpener. Fucking goes back and forth and sharpens it. Shaves his arm with it, sets it back down. He goes, there, if you're going to do it, fucking do it right.
Yeah. Ouch.
Trust me, I've also heard the story of the person who actually committed suicide with a pair of fingernail clippers.
If it was literally any other, like just a rando, normal person, I wouldn't have had any issues with that scene. I told you what my problem with that was. This is one of the mole people living under New York City because they're nuts.
And a drug addict.
Most likely.
Usually.
Yeah.
Or worse, they're not on meds they're supposed to be taking. They refuse to
Yeah.
stay on their meds. But either way, it's somebody who doesn't understand the concept of reality.
Well,
And
that's why, granted, like I said, I had the morbid sense of humor with the whole knife portion, with the whole putting the thing that's supposed to be able to use to read your vitals on his forehead. That's not near as mean. It's messing with him a little bit, but it's plausibly it has a higher likelihood of sighting him in the right direction. Because it's actually not doing anything that's going to hurt him.
Oh, he put a lead on him. That's what
Yeah, as a lead.
Yeah, just doesn't do a whole lot on the forehead, but you can use it to check the heartbeat on the chest.
Well, I mean, in that whole instance, they were just like, Sizemore's character Tom. He got to be Tom as well on that one. They were just fucking with him in that whole thing to try to basically snap him out of it. Because you will deal with people when you work EMS, fire department, things like that are what's, as cops would say, repeat offenders.
Shit,
well, that was Mr. O that the nurse actually liked and tried to coddle every time he came into the ER.
Yeah, and that's why he keeps coming back. But this shit was, yeah. They were insane.
Oh yeah.
Or rather, I wouldn't say insane. They were overworked.
Oh yeah. Like you definitely heard the captain basically how it was getting extremely harder to get people on there, and with the fact that Cage's character Frank had actually quit, and they still let him come back after
That
being in a fucking accident.
they acted like he didn't even quit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Well, if the other guy didn't report it as quitting, I mean,
Shit. He said you were going to fire me.
Yeah.
And that's why he kept coming in late. And I'll fire you next week. Mm-hmm.
trying to get fired and can't get fired.
Like
well,
he
they were
was
very
the
clearly understaffed.
Oh, EMS
Understaffed,
can.
overworked.
Yeah, that's actually pretty typical for EMS. That's why fire department usually tends to learn EMS. It's why they try to get police department too, in which they actually really should.
Agreed.
But yeah, as EMS, you can see some weird shit. I will openly admit though, for this movie, with the girl he lost before the start of the movie, Rose, of how they superimposed her onto so many different
On
people.
so many people.
That was actually very well done for a 1999 film.
Yes.
I thought so. I mean, even that one freaking gangster dude just walking by the window
Yeah.
of the shop he was in.
And then that fucking drug trip.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I
Although,
was like, this was already a fucking bad trip. You want to add actual drug trip to it?
I don't remember who played. What was that? CY? Was that the drug dealer?
I don't remember. I'm here like I'm glad I'm in my chair, not flying about, because I'm losing my happy thoughts. I don't want to fall down.
I still just like
Yeah.
after he grabbed, he.
Pronounced Psy, but
Oh yeah, Psy. Okay. Oh, I couldn't remember if Cliff Curtis was that guy, or I believe he was the
Yeah.
drug dealer. Yeah, but like he grabs Mary, leaves. He's like, "You owe me $10." He comes back later because of the whole shootout and whatnot. The dude's fucking straight up posted into a post on a balcony, hanging off, and he's just he's holding his head and he's like, "Frank, you know what? The $10 you owe me, I think you should keep it."
oh my god.
Oh, but I mean, that dude was high as a kite for that character. Dude, like, they portrayed characters pretty well, other than a few minor details, if you actually know what you're looking for.
Wow.
Yeah, they definitely
It was very well done, except for the whole actual
Like,
CPR.
Yeah,
and
the CPR
Yeah.
was one of the worst parts of it. That, and when they show Nicolas Cage for some odd reason constantly shifting a vehicle that's an automatic transmission. And not just constantly shifting, over shifting. That's like from fucking dry, or it's like from park to second or first, and then back to park. It's like, you're gonna blow out the fucking train.
Yeah, it's
I
a good way to
actually-
totally destroy the transmission.
As difficult as it was, I was actually impressed with some of the medical facts they got right.
Oh yeah.
Like the incorrect intubation of
Yeah.
Rose and everything. I thought that was really impressive. Where you have John Goodman telling him, "No, dude, you're not getting it right. It's in her stomach, not her lungs."
Yeah. I mean, the funny thing is, if you want to look for like a lot of general medical correctness, the really funny thing is you don't look at something like House or ER. Scrubs actually had more
Yeah.
general medical facts than any of those two, which is why, like, I do definitely like they went the part to try to get a lot of it correct. They just fucked up on some of the actual effort they put it into it. And don't get me wrong, I like John Goodman, but at the time frame for the size of that man,
I was waiting for him to actually end up being
Yeah.
patients that they picked up. I
But
didn't
still,
mean to
John
cut
Goodman's a phenomenal actor.
oh yeah, I mean, like that's what, like I said, like this one had a fucking hell of a goddamn cast. Like, good god. Like, I know some people don't like Nicolas Cage for some odd reason. It's typically who's directing him, from everything I've seen. But dear God, man, that man has worked with some amazing actors and actresses as well.
Yeah, he seems to me a lot like he's bound by the material and direction he's given.
Mm-hmm.
You give him good material and a good director, he's going to give a great performance. You give him crap from the start, and
Yeah.
it's going to drag him down.
Well, it's like some movies to where they're like, oh, we got these comedians on here. If we just put them on there, they're going to be funny. It's like, that's not how it works.
Well, I mean, it depends on if you're scripting them
Yeah.
tightly, or if you're allowing them some, creative license with this is the scenario.
Well, it also depends on if they've acted prior to whatnot. It's like that is one of the things that made something like Ghostbusters done so well. A lot, like so much of the original Ghostbusters movie was actually ad-libbed.
Yes.
But all three of them have prior acting credits, so they at least knew what they were doing on that thing.
Well, you also have to remember, like, back then, they had a sense of timing. They knew when to crack a joke and when to be serious. And they also had a pretty decent straight man. Like, a lot of comedy requires you have that one guy that's, like, nonplussed and, like, this shit's not real, dude. Like, he's stone-faced. A lot of comedy requires the stone-faced character.
Yeah, you can't have everyone joking around. You have to have the
straight man.
Yeah.
Or even if everybody is telling jokes, you need somebody who's at least dry about it.
Yeah, So that's
Like,
why that comedy works.
Harold Ramis was a fantastic foil as both a comedian and a straight man in Ghostbusters.
I mean, he really shined. I think he became more of a comedian in Ghostbusters 2, where he had his own little one-liners.
Well, going back
sorry, my bad.
Going back to this movie, to bringing out the dead, I would say like the absolute best comedic moment though was the prayer. And you had Cage basically playing the stone face. He's like, oh, it's a drug overdose. He said heroin and whatnot. And he just basically like that whole thing, like, Lord ain't gonna bring him back if you don't tell me what's going on.
He did.
He did.
He is dead. He's like, he's not dead, he's just overdosed on heroin. But quiet enough that they didn't hear him.
But they did. I'm pretty sure even if they don't know, they assumed he's dead.
Yeah.
And the fact that they played it up pretty well with, all right, I'm bringing him back, and then the whole prayer was A+.
His name's what? I be banging. What? I be banging. I don't know his real name.
Frank.
It's Cedric.
No, Frank is the other guy. His
Frank. No.
Frederick.
Frederick. Freddie.
Fred. No,
Freddie.
Frederick.
I
be banging. Grab hands with some of the side.
Why he went by I be banging.
Dumb kid shit. Just what it is.
He could have always.
Do you want to be 20 and walk around telling people your name's Frederick? Or so that they treat you like you're 80, or Freddie so they treat you like you're 12?
Or you can shorten it even. Well, hold on. For that, you can also shorten Freddie one letter down and just go by Fred.
That's what I would have done.
But of course, the one gal,
I'd go
being the
by
fact
Jack.
that it was her ex, is gonna say his whole name. Because for some odd reason, people just do that.
I don't think that's always true.
It's I don't know. It's. I'm not saying of just just women doing that. Men have a pretty good tendency to do it as well because like they don't know exactly what you're gonna need, so they give the full name.
I call people by your first, your last, your middle. Depending on what I feel like at the time.
I mean, it falls in the
I
whole
just
depends on the whole thing of like who you're around. Because typically, if you go into any military thing and whatnot, where there's you in there and you say "Hey asshole," you're gonna have everyone turn around.
Hmm.
Especially if it's like infantry or maintenance.
and I just don't
Which
much care
asshole
what
would
people
that
call
be?
me.
But we're unsure what to call you because you're so many people.
And I'll still say for this movie, that ending was not something I necessarily foresaw. Like I was kind of expecting he'll finally get past it and stop hearing Mary in his head and seeing her everywhere. Or
No,
not
the
Mary,
ghosts
but
never leave
Rose.
you.
Well,
I
Rose.
like the fact that they just went upstairs and went to sleep. They just went to bed. That's all they did.
I mean a
hon-
little bit before that.
honestly, he kind of needed to accept that in some cases the being dead is not the worst thing that could be the situation.
No, what he needed to accept was, you can't save everybody.
Yeah.
Like that seemed to be his biggest problem. Like his whole issue was the ones he couldn't save. He's unhappy about the fact that he couldn't save them.
Well,
And
he was also,
but
as he said it, he wasn't just unhappy that he couldn't save everyone. It's that long a time he didn't save anyone. It had been months
yeah, he
since.
hadn't saved anybody. You know, and it just be sometimes people die. What it is.
Yes, and he understood that, but he was used to having the handfuls of people that he managed to save that brought up. He was like, yeah, I lost that one, but I saved, or I lost those three, but I saved that one, you know?
Like because of that, that's why even though the one child was born from the twins and the other twin didn't survive, it hit him harder because yeah, being Rame's character, Marcus had the boy and he was doing fine, and then he's trying to do CPR on a child on an infant, which
Yeah.
actually was pretty accurate for how he did CPR on that one. Still timing a little off, but like quite literally, that's the only wonder where it's like you're just pushing with like two fingers.
All right. Speaking of the infant, she said she was a virgin.
Yeah,
I
we
told you what most likely happened
we all
here.
know that was bullshit. That most likely because they were probably on drugs, that she probably gave up the booty to get some drugs.
What? I totally disagree with you on that. I'm figuring most likely they're in hiding because they're illegal.
Oh, that was
And
a given.
while he was out working, she got raped.
I only went with the drug thing just because of the fact that where they were was littered with the shit.
I like to think somebody got drunk and they had sex and just didn't remember. So that's my.
Okay.
But how do you not know you're pregnant?
I like that they thought she was a virgin, or at least he thought she was a virgin, and she wasn't telling him that she
Yeah,
got.
yeah. Uh, at the same time, most of those cases of the people saying I didn't know, I'm really not buying.
Yeah. But I will be back in a minute. My stomach's hating me. So sorry about that.
Well, a lot of times, um, they were also Latino. They're very definitely Catholic. Um, a lot of times they'll turn around and cite scripture and try to say that that says that if you didn't do it voluntarily, that you can't get pregnant.
Yeah, the
And
Bible doesn't say that.
I know that, you know that, but Catholic people are Catholic churches try to take license with scripture. Um, and there are a lot of people who think that rape can't cause pregnancy. Like highly religious people that think rape
They
can't cause pregnancy. I'm not saying they're right, I'm saying they're stupid.
statistically, it's less likely to, just like some of the stresses of desperately wanting to get pregnant and going crazy trying. Sometimes the stress itself prevents it.
Yeah,
But
Mm-hmm.
but
simply being a rape doesn't mean
doesn't
that
mean you can't get pregnant.
doesn't
But
mean squat for that.
that's another reason why I'm inclined to say that she got raped while he was out working. And honestly, if you looked at where they were at, yeah, it didn't even look like a drug den. It looked like they
They
found
were
a
squatting
place. Yeah, they found a place to squat that was basically uninhabited.
because they didn't even have lights. So yeah, they looked like they were clearly squatters.
Yeah, exactly. But like I said, wasn't like they were in a drug den somewhere. They were just staying where they could guarantee they weren't going to be found.
Or at least out of the elements.
Roof over the head is the minimum you want there.
A roof over your head? No migra.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, considering most of this film was shot in fucking December, like, that's pretty harsh.
Mm. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's why I came to the conclusion that she got raped while he was out working.
Like
Rather
and they made New York look better than Detroit, so I'm not sure about that.
Mm-hmm.
nah, it looked pretty. They tried to make the harsh aspects look harsh while still being Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean,
Yeah, so it looks better than Detroit.
if you even looked at the tunnels and the mole people, they looked a lot better than the mole people actually look. Even the crazy ass mole guy that they scared the shit out of. Because he was totally ready to buy into that stupid uh, heart monitor on the forehead was going to draw out all of the suicidal thoughts or whatever.
Yeah.
Or change colors with fatal side effects.
Right? He was ready to buy that
He was
before they
ready to
scared the
believe.
bejesus. Before they scared the bejesus out of him.
Yep.
The placebo effect.
Maybe just a real come to Jesus moment.
But
I mean,
yeah, he had way too many teeth and was actually a little heavier than he should have been.
I'm really surprised that though with the way that Cage went about it, that he was actually the one to say his almost said, across the street is for attention. Down the river is when you're
And the
serious.
road is across the street for the ER, down the road for the morgue.
Oh no,
I am
I've
really
been.
smart.
Oh, I can understand. That's the way you look at it. That's actually the smart way to look at it. And that, like I said, because of my morbid sense of humor, I have been the one that has had some really dark moments in the military to where someone tried to say something was like, "Oh well, you got to remember across the street for detention, down the road when you're serious." They're just like, "Jesus Christ!" It's like, then don't fucking say that type of shit.
I've never been actually suicidal, and I've never claimed to be actually suicidal. But
I've been
I
there
do
before.
have suicidal ideation. So I've like seriously thought out what different methods of suicide would be like, and it creeps people out because they'll turn around and say some stupid shit, and I'll just pop back to them with facts without realizing that they were
Joking.
or whining, wanting attention.
So I still think my favorite, and I can't remember exactly, uh, from my last duty station was someone said something or other about dying, and without missing a beat, without making a joke, I just sat there on the computer and I'm like, "Yep, not fast enough," or something like that. And one of my coworkers started laughing because he looked over and saw one of the African American female, I say, lady NCOs that was in a different unit, just kind of appalled that I would have the audacity to say something depraved like that with no
You
face,
offended her sense
no
of
facial expression, no change of turn. It's just like, cause she had that look of like, "Yo, are you okay?" I'm like, "I'm
I think
fine."
it's depraved. I think it's just matter of fact.
you have offended her delicate fifis and
Oh
sensibilities.
no, she definitely did not have delicate fifis. It's just she wasn't expecting it at that time.
Ah, here with the okey doke. Yeah, but again, this one was weird, and it was a good weird. Like I would recommend this one.
Yes, this is actually one that I wouldn't be like, 8 millimeter to where it's like, yeah, you
Yeah,
watch it like one time in your life so you can at least say you've watched it and gone through it. Like
I might actually watch it again.
the,
I
the
don't know for
bringing out
sure that I'll watch it again.
bringing out the dead is definitely something you can watch every couple 5+ years.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like I could
more
watch it.
likely to. Go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
I was gonna say bring out the day one you could watch at least once, maybe twice a year.
Okay,
Don't know,
that
don't know about that often, but more likely to watch it again than the last one. So
yeah, yeah. No, the last one was like I've seen the last one exactly twice in my life, and I
That's right.
remembered after watching it when I watched it with you guys why I had not watched it again.
yeah, the only reason I watched that one twice is early onset dementia. Forgot the first time, and oh, this one
Yeah,
a year or two, maybe chase it with some dark horror to get a little bit of uplifting afterwards.
I don't know about dark horror, but it would be a great one to follow with like Nightmare on Elm Street 3. Something to give you a little funny to go with the
Morbid.
blood.
It's a little funny to go with your morbid.
Exactly.
Could chase it with Army of Darkness.
No,
Oh,
that
yeah.
would be great.
That would be a good chaser.
I mean, we can also look at the fact the next. Do you know what the next movie is after this?
No.
Gone in 60 seconds.
Gone in 60 Seconds.
Ooh.
Again, we're going to the action cage.
Were you wanting to do a palate cleanser or?
I mean, Gone in 60
don't-
Seconds is kind of a palate cleanser.
Okay, I can live with that.
I mean, if we really want to go with something else, we can figure out something else.
No, I can do that.
Angelina Jolie.
I
Yeah.
really like Gun and oh, shut up.
I mean, it's not the. I mean, if we want, we could go do the original old Gone in 60 Seconds, then do the Nicolas Cage Gone in 60 Seconds.
What? I didn't know this was a remake.
Yes, the original Gone in 60 Seconds is from 1974.
Learn something new.
The difference is, if I remember correctly, is one. I want to say the original was the Gone in. They used the numbers 60, and technically on a lot of the graphics and everything for the 2000s Nicolas Cage one, they used the word, SIXTY.
And I'm sorry, Angela, I wasn't trying to.
No, I knew that there was two of them, but I couldn't remember, and like that's been the main difference for a lot of them. So if you look up depend how you look it up, depends on which one you really get.
I didn't think you were trying to do anything, Tier. I was just judging you for your lusting after the Viper woman.
Again, I was just saying, Angelina Jolie in that movie was rather attractive, and it's a shame what she has become.
She was better looking. The only time I ever thought she was actually really attractive, and remember that this is coming from a female, so who is very guy oriented, was Hackers.
Hackers was all right.
No,
If you
I mean,
ignore the actual
think
hacking
Yeah.
part.
I think Angelina
Yeah.
Jolie looked best in Hackers. Is the point that I'm trying to
No, I'm going based on looks and that whole thing of Angelina Jolie. Like I wasn't talking about the movie itself. From everything I'm aware of, the best adaptation of showing actual hacking was in Swordfish.
Yes.
But if we're going off based on looks, my three favorite for Angelina Jolie, I do have a special place for Tomb Raider, but is
I
Wanted
haven't seen that.
and Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
I
Yes.
haven't seen Mr. and Mrs. Smith either. I'm not sure.
I'm
about
actually a bit upset that they're remaking Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
They didn't. They're not remaking it. It's been remade.
Yeah, I don't know why they did that. Was terrible.
Because they're remaking everything because they can't come up with any original thoughts. Well, they're remaking everything but movies that were badly done in the first place.
Yeah, they remake the ones that have already made good money, because obviously if they remade them once, they should be able to make good money again.
It's like, no, take the ones that were, good idea and poorly done. Remake those.
I will say
remaking stuff.
Well, I will say from what I've seen, other than some action, like some of the action movie genre, one of the things I've been really glad with is like there's been like 3 or 4 different times they've talked about trying to remake The Princess Diaries, and every single time people are like, if you fucking try that, we will come to your house.
They tried to remake The Princess Diaries.
They have tried getting it in the works like 3 different times, and every single time, like the original writer or the actors from it have come through and they'll be like, this does not require a remake or a reboot. It's good on its own. Just leave it alone.
It's like if they ever remade Casablanca, I would riot.
That's why, like, my 2 favorite things have always been for when someone brought up of like what they should have done for remakes. One, they should have talked about how they were going to remake Groundhog Day, but just re-release the same movie that it was.
That would have been
Not change anything. The other would have been of the Mummy, which was supposed to be, I think, like the Warner Brothers Dark Universe or some shit that had Tom Cruise in it. But basically, have it be that something happens, Tom Cruise actually gets knocked out or some shit because Brendan Fraser comes rolling out and he tells the tale of the first Mummy movie that he was in, and it just plays that again.
It's just a updated rehash of.
No, it's just basically they just change they add 5-10 minutes to it at the beginning and then just play the rest as it was.
Ha! I like it.
I have to say that you know what? My thought just fell into oblivion. I can't remember what I was going to say.
Okay.
Was it about where were we at?
We were talking about
before
reboots.
Before we got to Tom Cruise.
We were talking about reboots, and we had talked about the Princess Diaries. And I also had mentioned Groundhog Day.
Oh, yeah, that wasn't it. That was where I ended up falling off of my thought process. Never mind, it couldn't have been that important. And if it was, I'll remember before the stream ends.
If it was important, you'd remember.
It's as far as reboots go and whatnot, there are some that I have liked better. Dredd for 2012 was an exponentially better Judge Dredd movie than the Sylvester Stallone Judge Dredd.
Well, for one, it was Dredd.
Yes.
It wasn't Stallone pretending to be Dredd.
I actually liked both of those films, but I remembered what my fallen thought was. Kier's gonna hate me for this, and I owe him some fodder to judge me on. I actually wouldn't mind seeing Casablanca remade.
Angela.
But going back to the Judge Dredd thing, that's the thing though. It's not saying necessarily that the Judge Dredd movie with Sylvester Stallone is a bad movie, but it's a Sylvester Stallone movie.
Yeah,
that's like the 2018 remake of Death Wish. Isn't terrible, but it combines the first and second Charles Bronson Death Wish movies for the most part with a little bit of changes in them, but it's not terrible.
All right, so
it's too fast paced for what Death Wish originally was.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I do like the fact that instead of him being like a nebulous architect or having this nebulous job, because I can't quite remember what he did in the first one. He's a doctor.
Yeah,
and I like that. And I like the fact that it ends with a fucking shootout, and he doesn't necessarily leave, like New York or wherever he is. He stays, and he goes, "I got you." Mm-hmm. The cops never find him.
The only part in that movie that I will give a lot of shit is when he uses the AR pistol and they use full auto sound for it when you can only see a couple shots that are at the rate of a regular finger pulling, but you hear 13 because of it being somehow full auto.
Yes, but again, that's my only gripe with that one.
In the case of Judge Dredd, it was not. I don't think it was so much a Sylvester Stallone movie as Hollywood was pumping out a very formulaic type of action film at that time. And they decided that the character of Judge Dredd would fit well into that mold.
Well, there was a whole thing with the original Judge Dredd movie that the helmet was supposed to stay on entirely. It was actually supposed to be close to the comics. Stallone was the one who forced it in there that the helmet got to be removed because he wants his face to be shown. Which is why they went about the whole thing of, for so much of it, he quite literally wasn't a judge. Because for like half the film, he's technically not a judge.
True.
And then the big battle scene is him not even in costume. He's fighting his brother, his son brother, and yeah. So that's why I just like that.
Well, like I said, I don't hate it. It's just not the greatest, obviously.
I was gonna say I actually liked that movie. It was funny.
Yeah.
It was not Dread, and
Yes.
the Dread movie was good. I am one of the people that actually genuinely loves both
Well,
films.
that's why I said, Angela, it's not the whole fact that people necessarily hate the Sylvester Stallone Judge Dredd. Most people see that one, though, as just a Sylvester Stallone movie that happens to have that name. They still enjoy it. They just don't see it as a good representation of Judge Dredd. Like, my dad's the only one, on the other hand, who tries to say that the other one's, the Sylvester Stallone one's better, but that's because he's a Stallone fan.
He hit the law.
Now, Tier, I'm gonna backtrack back to my reasoning with being okay with a remake of Casablanca.
Because you're a Philistine. I get it. It's okay.
I'm not a Philistine, but
No, she's a
have
Jew, but you better make this good.
I have discovered that movies from that time are pretty much the only ones where I do enjoy remakes of them, to the extent that I like the originals. If you ever saw Sabrina with Julia Ormond and Harrison Ford.
I hear
That
Sabrina, and
was
all
a
I can.
remake. Huh?
I hear Sabrina, and all I can think of is Teenage Witch.
That was actually a remake of a film that also starred Humphrey Bogart in the part that Harrison Ford played.
All right, so this is my contention and the reason why I'm against remaking certain ones. You wouldn't get the same feel. Like Hollywood does not know how to do noir. Like they
Now,
don't.
I would not. Okay.
I'm
They
just saying
would.
Hollywood doesn't remember how to do noir.
They wouldn't do it as a noir film. I will admit that.
And it does not work as anything but a noir film.
Have you seen anybody try to do it as a not noir film?
No, but again, Hollywood can't do like modern Hollywood can't do it. They just doesn't they don't remember how to do it properly. And the remake that would be a travesty and a stain on such a classic. It's like trying to redo the Maltese Falcon.
I don't know. I grew up with Spencer for Hire and um uh The Equalizer and um Mike Hammer. And aside from the fact that Mike Hammer was a comedy version of a noir detective story, um they actually did capture that spirit of noir.
But the Equalizer, you just said the Equalizer. The Equalizer isn't a noir thing. They kept they kept some of the superficial elements without capturing the essence, and that's what Hollywood does with remakes. They capture the superficial without taking the essence. Like you take characters, you take setting, but you don't take story beats. You don't take emotions and stuff. Oh, well, we're just using names and change a few things, and bing, bam, boom, it's a new movie. It's a remake. And that pisses me off.
I feel like you're talking about The Equalizer, the movies, not The Equalizer, the old television show.
No, I'm just saying in general, Angela. Like
I'm
any old remake, any remake from an old classic, they remade lately. Now, some in the past, if they would have done this in the past, I'd be all for it. You know, back before all this crap and shit. But now, anything Hollywood touches from the past, oh, it's problematic. It's
okay. I Now I understand what your problem is, and I will agree with you on that.
Humphrey saying, you gotta get on that plane, you'll regret it. Oh, or having, play it again, Sam. Why Sam gotta be black? Because it's the point. Like,
Doesn't have to be black, but Sam was the most talented individual in the casino.
yes, but they would see, oh well, Sam's black, so you gotta be empowered. Like, don't tell me to play it again.
Bullshit.
You an employee?
Don't tell me to play it again. I do what I want. Can Hollywood, whatever Hollywood touches lately turns to shit. And to have that one ruined would piss me off to no end. But that's just me. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before.
I'm not saying that because Sabrina was remade, not during this hellscape that is Hollywood now. So I will say that if you had somebody who would remake it in the same vein that that movie and several others, as I said, from that time were remade, I think it could totally be done viably
Again,
and
it could.
even enjoyably.
I mean, again, if it was made before, if it was made outside the current woke paradigm, where every female got to be empowered, or every male must be emasculated, or every minority must be, this sassy whatever, or you character swap, you race swap, or you gender swap, or you this, you that. Yeah, no.
Replace all the gingers with blacks.
Plays all the genders with blacks, or somehow there. It's about two gay lovers.
See, that's where the problem would come in. They would be adamant rather than looking for the best actor, no matter what color they are.
Mm-hmm.
They would be like, Humphrey Bogart's character has to be a black man, and
And he has to be gay
what's her
and
name?
hot for the pianist. And
Lauren
yeah.
Bacall has to be Latina, and
Oh,
It wouldn't
a
make sense for the
Latina
setting.
trans woman.
the bad guy, yeah, and the bad guy absolutely must be a
Straight white.
straight white male.
Probably even a Christian straight white male. I mean, gotta make
But
At
him as
this
bad as you
point,
can.
yeah.
but it wouldn't fit I guess it would fit the setting, but still. Again, it's
No,
like the Monkey Falcon or the
I
oh
was agreeing with you that that would be horrible, dear.
yes.
I wasn't arguing with you on that. That would
Oh, could you
be
imagine Maltese Falcon with Gutman being an anorexic?
oh crap.
What?
The Maltese Falcon.
Never seen it.
It's an old
You should.
70s, well, not 70s, but an old noir
Can't miss
detective.
Gutman. He must weigh 300 pounds.
You know what? I actually don't think I've seen the Maltese Falcon all the way through.
I have. I used to have a copy of it until the
I
fire.
think I own a copy of it.
That's very cool. But that
The
doesn't
copy
change
of
the fact
Casablanca
that
until the fire too.
I think I own a digital copy of it.
Will
Thanks,
enjoys
babe.
film noir. Duly noted.
Yeah, I enjoy old. And look, you know what I'm currently listening to at work right now. Oh, not right now, but at work some days. I'm listening
Some
to
old radio show.
old radio shows. I'm listening to the Action Pass Expensive Count. Johnny Dollar. Sorry, yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Okay.
Yeah, on
I
my
mean,
FedEx days, I got from the library all the old copies of the Shadow that they had.
I was
Oh,
gonna
This is
say,
Ran
crazy.
through all of those. I ran through the original War of the Worlds. I actually had a recording of the broadcast.
I need to go through the world. I'm listening. I have all the Shadow that is currently all the radio show for the Shadow. Have all yours truly, Johnny Dollar. I have Nero. I think I love Nero Wolf the best. Uh,
I was gonna say, noir is actually more popular than people realize, considering the fact it tends to follow a detective. Granted, anything that's noir doesn't necessarily mean detective.
well,
no,
it's
noir just means dark.
Yeah.
yeah, but the reason why we associate noir with detective story because a lot of it is you're either a law enforcement agent or you are like some sort of investigator, like a reporter, or you're a private eye, a private dick, you know. And that's the term femme fatale comes from noir.
You might actually be a bartender.
Or
Crossing
you be a
Jordan.
bartender, you know. Again, it's
Crossing Jordan did kind of lean toward noir
mhm.
before it got before it went like hyper bright and Hollywood elitist.
Yeah. So that's why we have the we connect we cite we sorry we mentally connect noir and detective, even though you can be a noir story about anything. You know, you could have a fantasy noir.
But I
It's
mean,
rare.
even Quincy Jones' Medical Examiner was a bit of a in the vein of um Spencer for Hire, kind of a
Shit.
more film
What was
noir.
the thing? Um, I forget it was a detective duo. Oh man,
I
crap. I'm drawing a blank.
It wasn't Starsky and Hutch.
No, not Starsky and Hutch. Uh,
Okay.
um,
I
Rosemary and Tom, who were detectives.
technically
No. They were Rosemary and Tom, and they essentially solved crimes using flowers. I think they were florists. It sounds dumb as fuck, but
no,
they're really
actually, it's not at all stupid. I You would be amazed if you actually know anything about flowers and the messages that they were used
yeah.
to send.
And that's what they would do. They would like, oh well, based on this pattern of like the flower, we can tell what it was, and oh, there shouldn't be these types of seeds in this like that skin. Like they don't normally do this, and they solve crimes based on that. Miss Marple, I love Miss Marple.
I absolutely adore Miss Marple. But let's try something again a little more modern. Midnight Caller.
Ooh,
That
Okay.
was actually a really good, very definitely film noir in the vein of Play Misty for Me
ooh,
um TV show. Was Gary Cole and the guy that played Bubba in Forrest Gump.
shrimp etouffee,
Never seen it.
Huh?
He was doing the
bubble
Bubba.
gum.
It's all types of scrimp.
I want to say his name's like Michael T. Williamson.
Um, McKelly T. Williamson.
It's Michael T. Williamson.
Yeah.
Um,
Shrimp etouffee. Shrimp on shrimp.
but yeah, I actually really loved that actor, and when I saw him in Forrest Gump and saw the character he was playing, I was like, dude,
Shit,
wow, he can act.
he was in Black Dynamite. Dynamite.
That's a little um, outside of my purview, but
And I still say one of my favorite blaxploitation movies isn't even a blaxploitation movie. Technically, it's a Bruce Lee exploitation movie.
What? Last Dragon.
Damn straight.
Show enough.
Shogun of Harlem.
I
Yeah,
actually saw that, but I just consider that a Mushu
You
movie.
you are the last dragon. You the power
The
of
funny
the
part of that, of like, because the guy who played, Leroy, like Junior, he wasn't a main actor, so to help with his dialect and everything, they had him speak without contractions.
and I think that really helped his character.
Oh yeah, because that's why when she's like, "Are you alright?" And he's like, "I am unharmed."
That was part of what lent to the Mushu movie aspect of it.
That's why it's a Bruce Lee exploitation. Like that was like the Bruce Lee exploitation is a actual entire genre of its own.
Yes, there are cartoon.
There are Indian movies that have Bruce Lee's name on it and have no appearance of him whatsoever.
Shit.
Oh my God.
There are like several different versions of Bruce Lee, like Bruce Lee with an L-I, Bruce Lee with L-E-I, Bruce Lee with like two eyes. Like people were trying to cash when he died. People were trying to cash in.
We were trying to cash in while he was alive.
I
Yeah.
was gonna say you're
Bruce Eel. Oh no, typo.
Bruce Eel.
What's I forget the name of the movie. Let me see. The guy had the best name for a character ever. The one his part of his character's name was Dick Cannon.
I don't know, but it's been like an hour. My stomach and whatnot has been hating me through a lot of this, so we're gonna call it here.
Challenger of the Dragon. There it is.
I hope everyone has a good week. I believe this coming weekend is St. Patrick's Day. Hopefully, the stomach thing I have will go away by then. Otherwise, we will be back on Tier's show on Sunday for most of us. Actually, all of us will probably end up there.
All you can suffer.
On Sunday?
Saturday. That's why I said the next time you'll see us.
And then you said we'll be on Tier's show Sunday.
Technically, it goes into Sunday. It starts damn near Sunday morning.
Okay.
It really does.
Only for you guys.
Yeah, I forget you're on the opposite side of the planet.
No, Terry's on the opposite side of the planet.
Oh, Angela might as well be. She's in California.
Yeah, she's just halfway there.
But we're gonna get out of here. So, final words for the movie.
Watch it.
Check it out.
Okay. We'll try this again. Okay, final words for the movie. Tier.
Watch it. It's a head trip, but it's a really good head trip.
Angela.
Watch it. It's weird, but it's wonderful.
Will.
Make sure you're in the right headspace for it first, and preferably have some time and something to chaser afterwards.
I can recommend that.
Yes.
Better movie than expected. I thought it was going to be exponentially darker, especially, but following 8mm Don't think we're going to have too many of those. We're going to get out of here, folks, so y'all have a good week. Enjoy St. Patrick's Day coming up. And hopefully your work week doesn't be too drastic or whatever. I'm out of it. All right, later, folks.
Later.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. Join us again next week, or you can check out the other people in the panel in the description and see us again plausibly on one of their channels, or just check out what work they've done. Have a good week, everyone.